What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So, back again for some more NFL draft grades. We're going to go over the NFC West today. So, go ahead, leave a comment. Let me know how you think your team did, essentially. But go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. And go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. And yeah, thank you everyone that joined me on the NFL draft watch party all 3 days. It was a heck of a lot of fun and I couldn't appreciate y'all more enough. Going into this, we're not going over, this is just how they drafted, not undrafted free agents. They're not included. I didn't mention that in majority of these videos, unfortunately, and I'm sure to get comments about it, but they're not included. Just how they drafted and how these grades work. It's from A+ to F. If your team got a C+, or a C in general, it just means they did average. They had an average draft. They did okay. They did some things I liked. They did some things I didn't like. It was fine. If they got a D, it's subpar. They probably reached on a few players, did some things they probably shouldn't have. Yeah, for the most part, it's whatever. And if they got an F, they threw the draft and probably are going to be firing the coaching staff soon. No team got an F, luckily. Pretty hard to dish out an F. B's are above average drafts, so either very safe drafts or they did a lot of things well and maybe a few picks they probably shouldn't have. And then A, just phenomenal, almost nailed every pick. They got so much value with a majority of their picks. Even some of the ones that may have been reaches are offset by the sheer greatness of some of their picks. I only have 3 A+ grades, and 9 teams actually got grades of an A. So for the most part, a lot of teams got B's just because it was a very good draft class and teams, I think, did a good job. So let's go ahead, let's dive into this. Arizona Cardinals, they're one of those A+ teams. They did phenomenal. I loved their draft. I think the first, for what they were given, the first 3 rounds, they nailed. Isaiah Simmons falling to them and they're being like, yeah, we could probably use that. We could figure out how to make him a offensive coordinator's worst nightmare. Yeah, let's go with that. I love that. I love getting the value of Josh Jones in the 3rd round. A guy who was in my top 15. I love Josh Jones. He could immediately come in and be the right tackle there. Great value. And not to mention, they essentially got DeAndre Hopkins for that 2nd rounder. So yeah, they kind of did good. And then I like the approach in day 3. It's like, okay, we got some good players, good value. Let's just go ahead. Let's have a safe rest of the draft. And I think they did for the most part. Luki Fotu, I think, could immediately be a zero tech there. Is big body guy who's very, very strong, can push the line, push the pocket. So I like that pick in the 4th round. That's about where I had him graded. Rashad Lawrence may be a bit of a reach in my opinion, but he's a guy that can really move along the defensive line. Yeah, he's an ordinary athlete, but he's got a lot of versatility when it comes to where he can align. And, you know, it's a safe pick for the most part. Evan Weaver was a safe pick in the 6th round. He can come in, he can play. Yeah, he can probably play maybe 2 down linebacker for you, but he's going to be a special teams ace, in my opinion. He's going to be phenomenal. And then Eno Benjamin, the great value. I had him as a 5th rounder. They got him in the 7th. They just add another running back there because keep in mind, Kenyon Drake's only on a 1-year deal. Do they want to sign him long term? I don't know, but Eno Benjamin might give him a run for his money in the future. So overall, I love the draft for the Cardinals. I think they did very, very well. They were winners in my book. On to the Rams. And the Rams, they got a B, a solid B from me. I'm a bit indifferent on their first 2 picks because they had no day 1 pick, but they go Cam Akers. I thought they could probably grab Cam Akers a little later, but I get it. They get a guy who is actually ideal for their outside zone blocking scheme. He can be a monster in the pass game. So they get a guy who probably a little better than who they got in the 3rd round last year in Henderson. So I don't mind that. Van Jefferson was a bit of a question mark for me when there was a better, in my opinion, a better prospect in Denzel Mims still on the board. But you know what? He's going to be a consistent chain mover. He is a guy that can be a deep threat. So I'm okay with it. Again, I was kind of okay with their first 2 picks. They got tremendous value with Terrell Lewis out of Alabama, a guy who injuries were a big concern, but last year he may have been the best defender on Alabama's team. They needed to add some pass rush after losing Fowler. They brought in Leonard Floyd. There we go. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then day 3, they did a few things I liked. The Bryson Hopkins, I love the value. I love them getting a vertical threat there at tight end, but now they have Higbee and Everett, so it makes me believe they're going to move one of those. So, yeah, confused. Jordan Fuller was great value in the 6th. I had a 4th round grade on him. He's a guy that they can immediately help him at the deep end if they when they go into like sub packages, like nickel or dime packages, and maybe move Taylor Rapp to that dime linebacker position. Clay Johnston was pretty good value there in the 7th. Then they got a kicker, and literally, I don't think you should draft kicker or punters, but that's my opinion. And then Tremaine Ankrum finally addressing the offensive line. Really wish they would have done it earlier, because a lot of people think the offensive line's fine. They're bringing back the same offensive line from last year, and it was one of the worst offensive lines all of football. Maybe they're hoping some of those players play better this year, but Tremaine Ankrum provides a guy who he played tackle in college, probably going to move to guard. So good value. I had him as a 5th. So for the most part, I like the Rams draft. I think it was pretty good. Pretty good. On to the Seattle Seahawks. And this wasn't my lowest score or lowest grade I balled out, but it was the second lowest. I gave them a D+. I don't know what they were doing. Not a clue. Honestly, the only thing that really saved their draft, in my opinion, were their day 2, and even in day 2, they did some things I didn't like, and I like the value of the Alton Robinson pick. But Jordan Brooks, a guy I had a 4th round grade on, at best probably could have been a 3rd rounder. They draft in the 1st round. Hated that move. They did some wheeling and dealing in day 2 that I don't think they necessarily needed to, because Darrell Taylor and Damian Lewis I thought were third rounders, but they did some wheeling and dealing to trade up for Darrell Taylor, who I really like as a prospect, but I don't think they really needed to do that. Damian Lewis, big body guy. He's going to come in immediately and really help with the run game. And then we move to day 3. Kobe Parkinson, a guy who, for more times than not, played out in the slot for Stanford. He's a guy that's really not going to be a blocker. Despite his size, he really gets bullied. But I had like I had an undrafted free agent grade on him. So in the 4th round, really hated that. DJ Dallas, a guy I really like, but 6th round grade on running back, and you're kind of already pretty deep at running back, so I don't know about that one. But like I said, I really enjoyed the Alton Robinson pick. I think he gives this defensive line now, like that Darrell Taylor and Alton Robinson on opposite sides, I think is pretty scary. Both are very explosive. Freddie Swain, a little speed at receiver, but again, a guy I had a 7th round undrafted free agent grade on. And then Steve Sullivan, they get another tight end, and they got another tight end that can't block worth crap. I just don't know what the Seahawks are doing. You were kind of set at tight end. I really feel like they didn't have to address that position. Are you worried that your tight ends had all these, I don't know, injury concerns? But they got guys that, for the most part, are, I guess, better receivers than what they have in place, minus Greg Olsen. But I don't know. I just don't get the Seahawks draft. I didn't like it. I gave it a D+. Let's just move on. All right. It's better things we could do in our life than talk about the Seahawks draft class. And then the San Francisco 49ers got a B+. I like a lot of what they did. The Javon Kinlaw pick was good because they were able to snag a 4th rounder, trade 1 pick back, in my opinion, swindled the Bucks, and got the guy they probably wanted, Javon Kinlaw. He's going to be a monster on an already terrifying defensive line for the Niners. And then they dished out a 5th and a 4th to move up to get Brandon Ayuk. I like the pick. He gives them a potential deep threat. He's also disgusting just with the ball in his hands. He's a run after the catch type of receiver too. I thought it was phenomenal. I really liked that pick. Colton McKivitz maybe got drafted a round earlier than I would expect, but I think he was a very safe pick. He's going to be a solid backup and average starter in my opinion. Then they grabbed Georgia's tight end. I was kind of like, whatever. I didn't care for that pick too much. But Juwan Jennings in the 7th, I think, is a massive steal. This guy, he had the most broken tackles in all of college football last season. He is a monster after the catch. What killed his draft stock? A 4.27 40 at the combine. We all knew he wasn't gonna run fast, but that was a pretty damn in 40 time. But again, great value. I think the 49ers did fairly well. B+. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. And that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. It's always much appreciated, much obliged. I'm doing my little karate thing here. I don't know why, but until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.